Hey guys, welcome back to the Hard Knocks Guitar Shop. I'm Will Kelly, repairman, luthier, monthly columnist for Vintage Guitar Magazine. In today's segment, what I'm going to talk to you about is intonation and how to set up your guitar properly with the correct intonation. Now, the definition of intonation is a guitar's ability to play in tune with itself at all fret positions. Have you ever picked up a guitar and hit an open D string and it's sounding out of tune where it's in tune when you bar chord it further up the neck, or vice versa? What you've got is an intonation problem. Setting the intonation on a guitar simply means adjusting the individual string lengths for each string so that the guitar plays in tune with itself. You'll notice 6 small saddles right here, 1 for each string. Well, each one of these saddles is in a slightly different position, and what that means is that the string length, the effective vibrating string length for each individual string, is slightly different from its counterparts. Why is that? Ideally, what you're trying to do is get the harmonic note the exact same pitch as the fretted note at the 12th fret. If you can get each string to have the fretted note and the harmonic note at its 12th fret position, the same exact pitch, your guitar is going to play in tune. What you've done is slightly adjusted the string length so that the 12th fret, which theoretically is the perfect halfway point between your nut and your bridge, the 12th fret, the halfway point, is exactly that, and fundamentally producing a 1 octave note from the open note. And when those two notes match, you know that this half matches this half. Remember that we said what we were going to do is compare the 12th fret harmonic against the 12th fret fretted note. So we're going to do the harmonic and then the fretted note. Now those sound really similar, but if you look at them on a tuner, they're slightly different. There's your harmonic note, and you can see we have double green light, so we are dead straight on. That is a perfect one. Now this is your fretted note, okay? Now it sounded similar, right? But it's flat. So what we've done is checked the fretted note against the open harmonic note. So what we're going to do to adjust the fretted note to make it come together is we're going to take the E string and move it forward slightly. That corrects the situation where the fretted note is flat. So when the fretted note is flat, move it forward. So let's do that. We're going to take a small flathead screwdriver or Phillips head, depending on what you need, and we are going to simply screw it so that the saddle starts moving forward. Now we've moved probably about a 32nd of an inch or so. When you hit a note on a guitar, if you look at it on a curve, what you have is the attack note, and then the guitar note, the pitch levels out for a certain amount of time and then starts lowering, degrading to a point slightly where the volume fades. What you want to measure off of is that little plateau after the pick strike. So be patient when you're checking the intonation and the pitch. Hit that note, and then this is the part of the note that you should be listening to and checking on your meter. Same with the fretted. You have a pick attack and then the note stabilizes. So always try to be patient with your intonation tuning. Make sure that the notes get a chance to level out a little bit and measure that point. Vintage Telecasters have 3 bridge sections, one saddle that handles 2 strings each. So the question is, on most guitars you have a variance that's larger between the D and the G strings. In other words, the D string is usually a wound string and the intonation is set 1, 2, 3. So this is set a little higher or more forward this way. In other words, it tends to go flat a lot in standard. This, on the other hand, your G string tends to go sharp a bit. So the intonation always on a typical guitar, you have your D string and your G string here instead of them being equal. Well, if you notice the D string and the G string on a Telecaster share the same bridge saddle, what do? Very slick little invention that somebody a long time ago did is to take a small set of pliers, needle nose variety, and actually bent the screw and rotated the whole head of the bridge saddle and cocks it this way. If you'll notice, this saddle's straight here and this saddle is straight here, but this one is bent about halfway between where it enters the saddle body and this is the bridge body. So about halfway right here, it's actually bent at probably about a 30-degree angle. What that enables you to do is this side of the bar saddle is shifted forward and this side of the saddle is shifted backward because the whole assembly is bent this way. So after you set the lateral intonation for this string, then you make the bend in the screw itself. That's all. Because at that point, this part will be intonated. Because remember, we set this before we bent it. After that, we bent the screw head. Now, this part of the saddle has shifted back, which on a normally intonated guitar always happens. So therefore, instead of this being forward, level with this first D string, the G string has now been shifted back because the whole screw's bent at a 30-degree angle. And what that does is give you the perfect intonation for this as well. So we just took a double string saddle, intonated it. This is a trick that Tele players have been using for years. So if you followed my instructions and you've checked the fretted note against the harmonic note at the 12th fret on an accurate tuner, your guitar should be in tune with itself, and that's the whole purpose of intonation. And what you're left with is a guitar that can handle bar chords way up high and still do open chords down low and not give any tuning problems whatsoever. Now, a lot of this, remember, depends on having a properly cut nut, and also your bridge saddles need to be properly cut. But when you get to that point, you get a really great sounding guitar that plays perfectly in tune for you and the other people around you.